If you have an Accuquilt Cutting System, either the Go Baby, which that's what this is, the regular Go, or the Studio, there's a die that you can use. You might want to consider getting number 55409, and it's the isosceles triangle in a square, and what it offers you are the ends cut off, so it like shows you exactly where to line things up. Now, let's take a look at the die. I don't like to waste fabric, so I'm going to show you how I approach doing this to maximize the use of my fabric. What I did of both the tree and the background was I cut 5-inch wide strips. Let's start with the tree, okay? Let's take a look at the die closely, okay? You'll note that on the dies, the straight grain of the shape is always on an angle to the outside edge of the die. And the reason it's done that way is it will feed in nicer to your cutter. So it's very important that you respect that as the straight grain. So with my 5-inch strip that I've pre-cut, I make sure that I'm going parallel to that with my edge of fabric, and then I don't put it over here on the background. I just want to cut right there, and then I'm going to put the mat on right here. I'm going to roll it through. Okay, let me show you what I've got. I figured this out the other night and I was pretty excited about it. So here's your wonderful little piece. And then what I'm going to do is take this and flip it. Again, line that up so it's on the straight grain. Where are you? There we go. Put the mat back on, just in the area I want to cut. And there you go. And so forth as you work your way down the strip. I am doing it with 2 layers, but you can do 4 on your baby and 6 on the regular Go. So what you've got here now is this adorable little Christmas tree out of lettuce fabric, I might say. And now we've got to cut the background, okay? You can see I've been a busy bee here, and now I want to talk about cutting the background. You have a left side and you have a right side. And what you need to know is that they're mirror images. Kind of like in dressmaking when the pattern had you cut the back with right sides together. Well, I'm saying here, you're going to want to cut the shape with like sides together. So remember that 5-inch strip that I had you cut? You don't want to layer up fabric on top of each other. You want to fold the fabric and make sure that like sides are together. It will become clear in a moment. So what I'm going to do, like with the Christmas tree, let me bring this over here. I'm going to take this fabric. I'm going to make sure that I'm respecting the grain line so that, again, this isn't like going in straight, that it's going in crooked so that I get the grain line just right. Got plenty underneath. And then you're going to, see, I can actually put the mat on top. You can see this mat's been loved and used. All right, just go on through. And let me show you something cool. So let's remove the mat and take a look at what's going on here. If I had not put like sides together, what would end up happening is you'd have all of these backgrounds marching in the same direction. But because you put like sides together, you open it up and yay, you have a left and a right. So let's talk about sewing these together. With these little tips cut off, this is what you line up. You're going to line up the top like that, exactly up there. And you're going to find that it's a little bit too big on the bottom. Don't worry about it. Just make sure this is lined up. Think of the top of a tree where the star is. And then you're going to want to sew it from the base up. I don't know why, but you do. And you're going to want to use that perfect 1/4 inch that you've learned to do. If you have a built-in walking foot, this might be the perfect time to use it, because this big long angle can be difficult at its best. Also, don't pull your fabric through. You're working with two very, very long biases. Cut the thread, and then let's go press. So what we've got going on now is I need to press to the white, but you'll note that this is a long, long exposed bias. You don't ever want your iron touching that bias. So what I do is I come down to my ironing surface, and typically when I'm pressing seams from one side to another, I do it from the top, because if I go like this, you know, you're gonna 50% chance or more of pressing a tuck in. And so I go with my iron, I go up and off, and that is it. Then when it's time to put this on, I simply line this up again, because it's got the little butt in. Saw it off for us, yay, Accuquilt. And I will sew it from the bottom up and then press. At this point, I can press aggressively because I will have total straight of grain all the way around. Oh, let's go see what this looks like. Wow, this one turned out pretty good. You're going to find that sometimes it goes in and out, and that's just the nature of me not getting a perfect 1/4 inch. But I can totally deal with this as I move forward and put the trunk on. One thing I might do, though, is trim exactly from the tippy edge up to the top raw edge of the block. And honestly, what I would do, it's pretty good. I put this on the tree top, take my rotary cutter and whack it off. I'm happy with this one. Yay! Now it's time to put on the trunk.